So, very good morning. Having finished the topic called financial statements of companies and financial statement analysis, we go to the next topic, that is the third chapter, the fourth chapter we're going, that is ratio analysis. Today we are going to look at introduction to ratio analysis. So let us start off. What do you mean by ratio? Ratio is nothing but it is a relationship. It is a relationship. Relationship between what? Relationship between. So we are not talking about relationship between, always a relation between two persons. So we are not talking about relationship per people. It is a relationship between two or more business transactions. So ratio is nothing but the simplest meaning of ratio is a relationship. So relationship between what? It is a relationship between two or more business transactions. Now the question comes, from where you take this business transaction? All these business transactions are taken from the financial statements. All the business transactions are taken from financial statements. Now, what are these financial statements? We already know the financial statements are profit and loss account. And then we have the balance sheet. So, all information for ratios is taken from either from profit and loss account and balance sheet. What do we have in profit and loss account? We have already seen revenue minus expenses will give profit before tax minus tax will give you profit after tax. Similarly, what do you see in a balance sheet? There are two parts. The first part is called what? Equity and liability, in which we have shareholders fund, we have non-current liability, we have current liability, and we have total liability. Similarly, when we come to part 2, we have assets. Under assets, we have non-current asset, current assets, and total assets. So all the business transactions are either taken from the profit and loss account or the balance sheet. And then after taking this, then we try to establish a relationship between the two transactions. Now the question comes, why should we establish a relationship between two or more transactions? Simply because we can understand the financial statements better. Even a layman who doesn't know anything about accounts can understand the financial statements better. Now, what do you mean by this? Let us take an example. Suppose you are doing a business and somebody is asking you that how is your business doing? So you say that okay, on a sale of say 12 lakh 34,560 rupees, my business made a profit. My business made a profit of 4,32,100 rupees. Now, if somebody is asking you how you are doing your business, you told that on a sale of 12,34,560 rupees, I made a profit of 4,32,100. Now, are you able to comprehend it very easily? Is it easily understandable? No. Now the point comes. If the same thing, the relationship between a business transaction called sale and a business transaction called profit. Sale and profit, where do you get? You get it from profit and loss account. And if the relationship between this 12 lakhs and change, 4 lakhs and change is expressed in terms of a percentage, so it is 44%, means I am earning a profit of 44% on my sale. If it is expressed like this, then people would say, wow, you're doing a good business. Because if I put the same money in the bank, I get a return of 8%. If I put the same thing in debentures, I get a return of 15%. The same money I'm putting in a business, I'm getting a return of 44%. So the people say it is wow. in ratios, what you do is you express the relationship between two different business transactions. Mathematically, we can express as a percentage. When you express as percentage, then it is easy for us to analyze it. It is easy for us to interpret the data in the financial statements. So judgments become easy for us. Decision making becomes easy for us. So that is what is about ratio analysis. So we said it is the relationship between two or more business transactions. These business transactions are taken from where they are taken from the financial statements. Now, how is this relationship expressed? This relationship is expressed either as a simple ratio, or a percentage ratio, or a times ratio, or a fraction ratio. It is expressed mathematically in one of these ways. So in this example, we express a relationship between two business transactions in terms of what? In terms of a percentage ratio. So this is the first meaning of ratios. And once the expression is done, so this we could understand it, and this we could the expression in mathematically as 44% we could easily understand. And when we understood this, then we were able to analyze that the business is doing very good because you're getting a 44% return. And then you can make a decision after analyzing it. Then you can make a decision: should I invest in this business or not? So that is what is called as ratio analysis. Means what? Analysis means interpretation. Why do you want to interpret? You want to interpret for decision making. You want to interpret for decision making. So this is what is ratio analysis. Now, having understood what is a ratio and why do we analyze it, let us go further. So we said the ratio, the relationship between two or more business transactions is expressed mathematically as a simple ratio, percentage ratio, times ratio, or a fraction ratio. Now, what do you mean by all this terminology? Now, let us take an example and understand it. I am taking an example. So, we are going to the financial statements. Your financial statements are what? Your financial statements are profit and loss account and balance sheet. Profit and loss account and balance sheet. From profit and loss account, I took a transaction that is profit after tax, and let us profit after tax is say 4 lakhs. From balance sheet, I took a transaction called capital. I took a transaction called capital, and our capital is say 10 lakhs. Now, I want to establish the relationship between these two things. What is the relationship between the money I invested in a business, that is capital, and the profit I received from the business? So, what is my investment and what is my return on investment? So, this relationship I can call it as return on capital employed. Return on capital employed. ROC, and this is a short form I'm using. So what is a return on capital employed? Suppose if somebody asks me how is your business doing? I invested around 1 million and I got a 0.4 million profit. Now in 1 million investment I got a 0.4 million profit. So do you understand this? So we can understand this. So now I want to know what is my return, what is the profit I got on the money I invested. The money, my own money which I invested in business is called capital. How much return did I get on this money I invested? So that relationship I am saying can be expressed in one of these terms. Now let us see the first thing. A, in a form of a simple ratio. In a form of a simple ratio. Now what do you mean by this? What do you mean by the simple ratio? Now, return on capital employed is equal to profit divided by capital. My profit is how much? My profit is 4 lakhs. My capital is how much? My capital is 10 lakhs. So I get 0.40. So now this answer 0.40 I'll express as that 0.40 is to 1. This is a simple ratio. This is a simple ratio. So what does it mean? What does it mean? See, on an investment of 1 rupee, that on a capital of 1 rupee, I got a profit of 40 paisa. So profit is to capital. My profit is 40 paisa is to 1. If the capital is 1, my profit is 4. On every 1 rupee, I am getting a profit of 40 paisa. Therefore, I can interpret as my profits are 40 paisa in a rupee. My profits are 40 paisa in a rupee. So when I said that on an investment of 1 million, I made a 0.04 profit, probably we could understand it when I'm talking in raw data. But when I express the same thing as a simple 0.4 is to 1, on every 1 rupee I'm making a profit of 40 paisa, then we say, wow, it's a good business and it's a good investment. Because even banks are giving us only 8% return and all that, but this is giving 5 times the bank return. So it's better we invest in this business. So this is a simple ratio when the ratio is expressed as like this 4 is to 1. So now, having understood this, we go to the next form of expression, that is a percentage ratio. Percentage ratio. The same thing, the same data can be expressed as a percentage. Now again I'm going for return on capital employed. Return is nothing but profit divided by what? Divided by capital. When I talk about percentage, then I talk in terms of 100. So I multiply with 100. So it will be 4 lakhs divided by 10 lakhs into 100. And my answer would be 40%. My answer would be 40%. So the answer is equal to 40%. So this is a percentage. This is a percentage ratio. This is a percentage ratio. So means what? I am getting a 40% return on my investment. For every 100 rupees I invested, I am getting 40 rupees. So my profit is, therefore we can interpret as my profit is 40% on my capital. On my capital. So if I invested 1 lakh, I get a 40,000 profit. If I invested 2 lakh, I get a 80,000 profit. If I invested 10 lakhs, 40% of 10 lakhs is how much? 4 lakhs. I got a profit of 4 lakhs. So that is what we call as percentage ratio here. This is the percentage ratio. The simple ratio was in 0.4 is to 1. The percentage ratio we are expressing in terms of 100, and that is 40%.